Hi, graphic design students. I am going to show you how to edit this cute Christmas drawing. If you missed my lecture on Monday, you can follow these instructions. If you did see my lecture on Monday or on Tuesday, depending on what group you're in, you can watch this again for some reminder tips, okay? All right, so first of all, we discussed layers over here. When you think about in Photoshop, when you are thinking about a project, you have to think that every single thing in a project is a layer. Think about clothing. You put on your t-shirt, sweatshirt, and then a coat on top of that. All of them are layers, and each layer is a different fabric or color or whatever. Okay, so each thing in a project is a layer, and layers are listed right here in the bottom corner. Now, over here, we discussed tools last week, and I need to use a tool that is hidden underneath the object selector tool. Okay, so I want the magic wand tool to be active. You know your tool is active if it is black in a black square like that. Now, when I use the magic tool, notice it says select similar colored images or areas. Okay, so I'm going to click inside this M. And if you can tell, the M now has dancing lines around it. Okay, that means it is selected. I could come over here and select the T, and it is selected instead. Okay, I'm going to go back to the M. It will select an area. All right, now the area is on this drawing. We'll come back to that in a minute, but notice that this drawing is this layer. Okay, I'm going to create a new layer. Now there's multiple ways of doing this, and we will do it multiple different ways in class. But for today, we're going to click this little button right here that is the plus sign. This says create a new layer. Now I have a layer 2. I am going to create a new layer, and I'm going to double click on that layer to name it. And I'm going to call it a color, and let's just start with red. And I'm going to hit enter. So everything that I want red on this paper, I'm going to use this layer. Okay, now the shortcut for filling a layer with color is Shift Backspace. Shift Backspace together will open up this fill box. And right here, it's going to ask you, what are you filling it with? Okay, I want to fill it with color. So I'm going to click that button. This is going to open up my color picker. Now I could change the color if I want to, but I want red. And this is where I pick the shade. What color red would you like? Well, since I named my layer red, I'm going to try and choose a traditional red. So I'll click that. This will show me what my new color will look like. And I click OK. I click OK. And now that M on this color or on this layer is now red. Now to unselect or to get rid of the dancing ants, there's a couple different ways. The shortcut is Control D, or you could hit Select Deselect. See, there's a shortcut right there. Okay, so from now on, I'll just hit Control D to deselect. All right, now I want to go through and I'm going to select each letter in the word Mary. I want them all to be red. But notice the picture's down here. If I were to click on the R, nothing's happening because it's not in this picture. There we go. My battery was running low. Okay. All right, so I have to reselect this layer. So I come down here and click the Christmas drawing. I have to hit that Control D because it was reselected. I want to select the E, the R, and the Y on this drawing page. But to select multiple things, I have to hold down my Shift button. So I clicked on the E, hold down my Shift, click R, and Y. All right, now I want to fill them in the same red. So I'm going to click on red. I'm going to hit Shift Backspace, and I've already told it what color to be, so I'm just going to hit OK. And now those are all colored red, and I'm going to hit Control D to deselect. Now let's do the word Christmas in green. So come down to your Christmas drawing and select Christmas. Now I'm going to hit C and then hold down Shift and select the H, R, I, don't forget the dot, S, T, M, A, and S. All right, now I want to create a new layer because I want it green. I'm going to hit plus, double click to rename, green, hit enter. Control or shift backspace. I'm going to fill it with color, but I don't want it red, so I have to click the drop down, choose color, and pick a green. So I'm going to go to the true green and pick a true green shade, more of a Christmas green, right? That's what it'll be. Click OK and OK. So now everything in this layer will be green. And look what I forgot. I forgot this little area. So I need to click back on my drawing, click this area, click back on green, shift backspace, and OK because green was the last color I used. All right, now I want you to go through and color this page. You can use whatever colors you want. Whoops. You can use whatever colors you want. The minimum that I would like you to use is 5 different colors, okay? If you want to increase your picture, Control Plus is a great shortcut to come in here and move your picture around. You can use your hand. You can move things around with your hand like this, okay? All right, for instance, let's go in and I'm going to click on my Christmas drawing, click on my magic wand, and I want to color this scarf red. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to hold down Shift and click here. And I also want to select each of these things, making sure my magic wand tip is in the blank area of the shape. Okay, now I want to color it red. So I click on red. I go up to Shift Backspace. And if I click OK, it's going to color it green because green was the last color I used. So I need to change that. So hit Control Z, making sure red is selected, Shift Backspace, and click down arrow color. Now I want red. Now I want to make sure that I have the exact same shade as the red before. Notice when I move my cursor around and I come onto the coloring page, it turns to an eyedropper. It's waiting for me to pick a color to use, and I want this red up here. So I'm going to click, and it's going to match it exactly. Click OK, and now my scarf is red. Hitting Control D to deselect. All right, you guys, the next part, after I color everything, I want you to apply a layer style. A layer style is something like making it have a shadow, having it stick out almost like it's a 3D raised puffy paint, or having it have a glow, or we have something called a stroke, and a stroke is a border. And all of those, well, there's multiple ways, but for right now, they're all under this FX button. Okay, so just to show you what's happening, I'm going to see. There you go. I'm clicking on my green layer and I'm going to click FX. These are some of the layer styles that you can apply, and I'm going to choose Bevel and Emboss. It happens to be my favorite. I'm going to click on that. And notice over here on the drawing, it shows you an example of what it looks like. It also shows it here. I can increase the depth to make it stand out higher or lower. I can increase the size to make it look different, more flat or more round. I can soften it or I can make it more hard. I can change a lot of things, and each of these layer styles allow you to change it as well. I think that looks great, so I'm going to hit OK. So now from now on, anytime I use this green on this color page, it's going to have these layer styles. For instance, let me show you. if I go back to my Christmas drawing, make sure my magic wand is selected, I'm going to pick some of these circles. Hold down my shift. I'm just going to pick some random ones. I don't want them all the same color. Okay, then I'm going to say green, shift backspace to fill, double checking that I have green select. See, I didn't have green selected, so I'm going to use my eyedropper and click, say okay, and okay. Now those green, hit Control D to deselect. See, those little dots are green. And if I zoom in up to those green, you should be able to see that they are raised with that shadow. Okay? Super exciting. Now, there are other fun things, and I'm going to just show them. They're not required. Okay? But I'm going to show you how you could fill something with a pattern. Okay? Let's say I've got, here's a Santa hat. Whoops, Control D, deselect, go to my Christmas drawing. Let's say I want to find a pattern of red and white stripes. Okay, I'm going to go to my internet and I'm going to search red and white stripes. Okay, I'm going to find a pattern I like. Let's use this one, or let's use this one. See how that has that bottom white stripe, and this one had some invisible words. We'll use this one, and I hit right click and copy. And then I'm going to go into my Photoshop and say File, New. It's going to immediately accept the size of what I've put on my clipboard by copying. So I hit Create. Okay. And I'm going to hit Paste, which is Control V. All right, so here's my stripes. It's not perfect, but that's what I'm going to use. Okay, now I'm going to, let's see, edit, define pattern, call it red and white stripes. Okay, then I'm going to go back to my drawing up here. Okay, now I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to call it red and white stripes. And clicking on my Christmas drawing, I'm going to pick something I want red and white stripe. Let's do this cute Santa hat. Okay, so here's my Santa hat. And I'm going to click on red and white stripes, and I'm going to say Shift backspace. Now, instead of color, I'm going to choose pattern. Okay, then I'm going to choose this drop down. And look, there's my red and white striped, and I'm going to hit OK. And there is that cute pattern. Okay, now there is a way, and I have to play with some, I might have to come back and show you in person, but there's a way of editing the stripes or the pattern if it's big or small. And I will find that for you and come back and show you. But isn't that cute? So you could even have patterns. All right, you guys, I'm going to Control D to deselect, make that minimize. And look how cute that striped hat is. You could do patterns for snowflakes, for stars, whatever you want. Okay, so that's another way of doing it. Now, the last thing I want to show you is how to save. When we save in Photoshop, I want you to come up here and look at this. This is the page I'm working on, and notice it's a PSD. The PSD is a Photoshop document. Anytime you're working on a Photoshop document, you want to save it as that or make sure that is the extension so you can continue to work on your work. So if you said File, Save As, locate your Google Drive, My Drive. Now I have lots, remember, you have to find your class folder, second try, graphic design, give it a name. So I'll say coloring, and then look, the save as type, okay? Photoshop is what you want it to be. It usually is the default, so you shouldn't have to change it, but just double check that you have the PSD selected. Then click OK or save. Then click OK. Now, when you're all done and you are happy with the way it looks and you want to turn it in, you need to change that extension to a JPEG. All right, so we're going to come up here and we're going to say File, Save As. And I'm going to leave it as coloring and I'm going to click on that, Save as Type, and I'm going to come down and choose JPEG. A JPEG is an image file. So if I choose JPEG and then Save, I'm going to now have, click OK, I'm going to have two different files that one is a working document and one is an image. So when I look at my files in here, let me go into that file to show you. Okay, My Drive, 2020, second try, graphic design. Okay, let me go into View and go into Large Icons. Okay, see the two different documents? One is a Photoshop file. It is a working document that you can open again and continue to work. The coloring page is not a working document. It's just a picture. This is what you're sending to me in an email. All right. If you have questions, please email me and let me know. Enjoy this project and have fun. Okay.